It's all about love. That's what the film's about. It's about love. It's about this humanity, which, yes, is tested to limits, but ultimately it's unbreakable. Ultimately, it survives. And one could you could think of the context of America. You could think of the context of what people have had to go through, whatever ethnic background you could think of. But the idea of the pursuit of happiness has always been the sort of underlining sort of foundation of all of this in a way. But at the same time, it's about love. That's what this film is about. It's about love and understanding. I mean, you think of the Holocaust and the amount of pain that people experienced, unfortunately, those unfortunate events. At the end of the day, it's about remembering and never forgetting, and understanding from the past and embracing your past in order to go forward into the future. You cannot divorce slavery from the physical. I mean, that's what it was about. It was about torture, and to some extent, and also about mental torture to keep people in line. There's no way you can sort of censor that from a film about slavery. Otherwise, there's no movie. And therefore, what was so interesting for me with the spirituals, I got a real understanding of those songs, in a way, where people could actually sing through one's pain. And it was just so moving. And as you see, there's a clip, of course, in the film, where Solomon, burst into song at a certain point, because that's the only thing he could cling on to, is love and hope. Because if he doesn't, he will lose his mind. And I think that this tells you how important, of course, religion was into keeping people sane.
The story always seemed like it was a story that moved into two different parts. And the first part was Solomon is a man who believes that he is in a battle for his freedom. But then what happens is he realizes he's in a battle actually for his mind. And at that point, that's when things like his spirituality, his worldview, his opening himself up to other aspects, to religion, to community, to the faith of the people around him, of the slaves there on the plantations. And it's sort of embodied in one moment where he starts to sing a spiritual with the other people at the funeral of one of the other slaves, where he recognizes that he himself could be buried there, that he could die in this place and never get back to his family. So he, at that point, starts to turn to other things, to spirituality, to community. He's a victim, certainly, of the circumstances that he finds himself in, and he is treated in this way, because he has a spirit. He has a kind of fighting spirit, which people around him instinctively recognize as something that needs to be removed. It's something that is inherently dangerous. But to think of him purely as a victim, I think, is to do him a disservice. He is somebody who is very active and alive in his spirit, in his soul, and he is in that completely sort of unbreakable. And so he is very powerful. He doesn't get the opportunity to express his power, but he is very powerful. And underneath everything that is happening, he is finding ways to return to the people that he loves. And then the question is he heroic? And again, to be a hero is somehow to take active steps against something, or that's at least how it's perceived sometimes, that you take active steps, that you are aggressive in your pursuit of something. And in to that description, he's not particularly heroic in the classic sense of a hero, but he is heroic in his heart, and he is incredibly brave, I think, extremely courageous, and has this extraordinary resilience, which I think is incredibly heroic.